Hey, welcome to Life Empowerment. I am your host and empowerment specialist, Raphael Robinson. We've been in a series of teaching on the journey to success. Today we're going to deal with attitude of success or developing successful attitudes, in which we'll deal with about 3 successful attitudes that will help aid us in our journey to accomplishing our divine design. An attitude can be defined as a way of thinking or feeling that determines or promotes a set behavior. There are certain behaviors that promote success. And so the very first attitude that we want to deal with is an attitude of observation, watching, looking. I believe Psalms 37:37 says, mark the perfect man and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace. One translation or another translation says, keep your eye on the perfect man. Success depends upon our ability to define it, and not only define it, but to find a person that fits the definition. To define it and to find a person that fits the definition. The Bible, King David in his writing says, mark the perfect man, keep your eye on the perfect man. And so the very first attitude that we have to have is an attitude of observation. Have you found the perfect man? What area of life are you called to? Are you called to be a lawyer? Are you called to be a doctor? Are you a parent? Are you a police officer? Are you a leader? Are you a pastor? Are you a politician? Find the person that fits the definition of success in that field and begin to watch them. Let's take it a step further. Study them. Study their mannerisms. Try to develop get to develop a relationship where you can have conversations and ask questions about the way that they think and how they operate. Keep your eye on them. Never let them out of your sight. There's something that you have to learn. They have it. Remember, they're successful, and we're on our way to becoming successful. The second behavior that we want to talk about is preparation. Successful people are prepared for the task that's at hand, as well as the things that happen out of the ordinary. Successful people have trained themselves to become prepared for the task that's at hand, as well as the things that may happen out of the ordinary. Successful people are skilled within. They've learned how to master certain tasks of preparation. When I talk about preparation, I believe 1 Peter 5:8 says to be sober, be vigilant. Your adversary, the devil, walketh about as a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. We're not going to focus on the devil, but we're going to focus on being sober, being vigilant. The Amplified Bible states it this way, or I'll give you the terms this way. When I think about being prepared, I think about being well balanced. An unjust weight is an abomination before the Lord. And so we must be well balanced in every area of our lives if we're going to be successful. We have to make sure, number 2, that we are disciplined. Successful people, they are very disciplined. I believe the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 9, he talked about running a race and the disciplines that are necessary to win, knowing that if we are running in the race, we have to have a racer's or a runner's mentality. You have to have the disciplines that are necessary in order to be successful, in order to be prepared for the task that's at hand. Number 3, you have to be temperate or moderate. You can't be easily provoked to express anger and certain feelings. You have to be temperate. You have to be able to hold it together under pressure. There will be some things that will occur that will try to get you to behave outside of success. And you cannot afford to do that. You must stay temperate. Sober-minded. Oh, this is a good one. A lot of us have become drunk on a lot of things in life. More than liquor. Drunk on dreams, drunk on relationships. The funny thing about relationships is you can be drunk on a relationship and the person that you're in relationship with is not drunk on you. You got to be sober-minded. You have to have the ability to weigh the facts the way they are without the influence of infatuation. Weigh the facts the way they are without the influence of infatuation. Be vigilant and cautious at all times. If you are going to be prepared for destiny, for success, you have to be vigilant. You have to be watchful. You have to be seen, and you have to be cautious at all times. At all times. You cannot afford to let a time slip by. Which brings me to my next behavior, time management. Successful people function in time very well. Now, there was a successful king. His name was Solomon. He wrote a book of Ecclesiastes. He wrote a whole chapter as it relates to time management. We may have never viewed it that way, but that's exactly what it is. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to build. And if you were like me when you were growing up in church, whenever they hit that chapter, you said, da, 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 da. It just didn't make any sense. You were a kid, you weren't trying to exercise time management. But guess what? Back in the days when you were young, you were a kid, and I know you wish those days were back again, but they're not. You're not a kid anymore. It's time to grow up. Time management has to be your best friend. Solomon, in his wisdom, he said there is a time and a purpose for everything under heaven. I want you to open up your ears very clearly right now. There is a time for your purpose. I've seen a travesty in life. The travesty is people that try to operate in purpose outside of their time. People that try to operate in purpose outside of their time. There is a time where specific purposes will come to an end, and we have to go back to the Father and get new marching orders as it relates to our new purpose. Solomon says there is a correlation between time and purpose. Under heaven, that's us, the people that operate under the heavens. We don't live in the heavens. We live in the earth. He says here, there's a correlation. There is a time to every purpose. A time to every purpose under heaven. And so we have to understand when we have come in contact with the time for our purpose. The Bible says in 1 Chronicles 12:32, the men of Issachar were men that had understanding of the times to know what Israel ought to do. We have to understand time. We have to measure our purpose by our time. What do you mean by that? And we'll close with this. When a woman is pregnant, she can measure her time by her purpose. Her purpose is to deliver the baby. Each month that time goes by, her belly will get bigger and bigger and bigger. And she can measure it to the point and place where there's no more room to stretch, which means that it's now time to push. Some of us need to realize that our bodies, that life is releasing all type of alerts. It's time for you to do this. You can't afford to be slowful. You can't afford to procrastinate. You can't afford to be lazy. You have to understand that there can be a time when your purpose will pass you by. Why do you say that? There was a man named Esau that didn't understand time and didn't understand purpose. And though he sought it with tears, he was never able to get it back. That's not going to be you. You're going to pay close attention, and you're going to operate your purpose inside of the allotted amount of time. Hey, I'm Raphael Robinson, your empowerment specialist, and I am so glad that you have an understanding of your purpose and your time. Until next time, God bless.